The long-term view for South Africa, unfortunately, is that of economic stagnation, where we'll see high levels of unemployment rates in the country and low levels of economic activity.
A recent report came out indicating that the total private wealth held in South Africa has declined by 25% over the past decade when measured in US dollar terms. Joining us to discuss this today is CRA analyst Bheki Mahlobo. Now, Bheki, can you tell us how does this wealth destruction impact South Africa?
So, Nick, this speaks to the broader trend in which I see within the ANC, in which we've moved from wealth creation policies to that of wealth destruction policies. I mean, you can also see this in the language in which certain ANC officials use. The objective is no longer that of economic growth. It now needs to be inclusive growth. In other words, growth which is directed by the hand of the ANC. How many Black individuals should benefit from economic growth compared to other racial groups, as well as how many women compared to men and other categories such as disabilities. However, when we look at the objective results, economic growth benefits all members of society. And we can see this from the period 1994 until 2007, in which GDP growth rates averaged 3 to 5%. We saw the doubling of employment of people in South Africa across all racial groups, more exclusively in the Black population. We saw indicators such as that of water and ability to use electricity for cooking increased by levels of 200%. So we can see that the objective results of economic growth, it benefits all members of society. Now, this raises the question then that the decline in wealth, especially amongst the wealthy elites, does this only impact the wealthy elites, or does this also impact society in general in South Africa? And the answer is yes. These wealthy individuals, in order for them to become more wealthy in South Africa, they need to reinvest within the economy. And unfortunately, over the past decade, as I've mentioned earlier, the ANC has followed policies which are destroying wealth within the country, which leaves these wealthy individuals with a few options. It's either they sit and do nothing and see their wealth being destroyed, or they simply go elsewhere to other countries where they become more successful. And that's exactly what we've been seeing in South Africa. We've seen a capital flight, that of investments moving out of South Africa to foreign countries, as well as that of skills flights. This negatively impacts South Africa's employment rates. South Africa has employment rates of 40%, which is just above half of that of emerging markets and far behind that of developed markets of 70%. And in order for South Africa to reach emerging market norms of that of 60%, we need to add about 1 million jobs per year for the next 10 years, which unfortunately is unlikely given the policies now that we face in this country.
Enjoying this analysis? Click here to sign up for our 30-day free trial for more content from the CIA.
Bheki, on this topic of the wealth destruction policies, what would you say are some of the policies put in place by the South African government that have been destroying this wealth?
Nick, the most prominent one is that of expropriation without compensation. The expropriation process is a two-step process in which first the owner loses ownership of that asset, and second, the state simply takes ownership of that asset. It is generally accepted that compensation should be paid to the owner of that asset for the loss of the property. However, the South African government has came up with two ways in which they do not have to compensate the owner for the property. And the first one is that of custodial taking, and second, that of regulatory taking. Now, custodial taking occurs as follows. First, the owner loses rights to that asset and the right ceases to exist. The state then becomes the custodian of those rights for which no compensation is payable. A perfect example to think about this is the decision that the Constitutional Court decided on 7 years ago on mineral rights, in which the state became the custodian of mineral rights in the country. The second is that of regulatory taking, in which the state simply changes regulation, which deprives the asset owner of benefits of ownership of an asset. Regulation changes such as that of price controls, as well as that of increasing BE requirements on businesses.
Indeed. And in light of this, Bheki, what would you say is the long-term view on South Africa?
That would hinge on the policy in which the ANC follows. Unfortunately, as it currently stands, I do not see any move from within cabinet to move away from these wealth destruction policies. That's because majority of the ANC officials are not of a reformist mindset. And the long-term view for South Africa, unfortunately, is that of economic stagnation, where we'll see high levels of unemployment rates in the country and low levels of economic activity.
Well, this is a fascinating topic, and I think it paints a very interesting picture for South Africa's future, as well as really emphasizing the effect that some of these wealth destruction policies have on the country and how it slows down economic growth and the broader effect that has on society. Bheki, thank you very much for speaking to me today. Once again, if you enjoy our videos here on the CRA channel, please subscribe, give this video a like, leave a comment, and please follow the link in the description to access our 30-day free trial. Until next time.